Amazon, almost 100,000.
What about this news of Walmart laying off hundreds of corporate jobs? What does that indicate in terms of the retail sector?
Yeah, well, Walmart was one of the major disappointments this earnings season. Not only did they miss earnings expectations, they also slashed their profit expectations for the rest of the year. So in a way, this was sort of well signaled in their second quarter's earnings report that they just wouldn't have the cash. So they are laying off 200 corporate executives in Arkansas. Again, I think this was signaled by their earnings report. But this is certainly a trend, you know, and I think Walmart was caught sort of flat-footed with consumer spending being pared back. And so they certainly indicated that this would be happening, and whether or not we're going to see this across the economy writ large, of course, is a big question.
All right, Lydia Moynihan, thank you as always.
In the latest quarter, nearly 100,000 employees disappeared from Amazon's global workforce, the biggest drop in the company's history, in fact. Prompts the question, what will future employment numbers look like as GDP declines? And DJ's Colin Fredrickson has more.
The largest ever quarterly drop in employees in the history of Amazon. Almost 100,000 employees have disappeared from the company. And this is happening as the June unemployment rate remains at 3.6%.
We're going to see worsening unemployment numbers over the next several quarters.
Robert Wright is a senior faculty fellow at AIER and the author of Fearless, Wilma Sauce and America's Forgotten Investor Movement. Wright says,
employment is a lagging indicator, meaning the economy moves down first and then there's unemployment a bit later.
This is happening as jobless claims have hit an 8-month high.
With all those government spendings, all those projects, all those things, all those money that we pumped into the system, there are a lot of job opportunities, right? And that's why we are having a good time with employment. But that is likely to change.
Frank Xie is a business professor at the University of South Carolina, Aiken. Xie says it could change very quickly and that the technical recession could last around a year. The United States has gone through 34 recessions since 1857, and on average they last 17 months, though the 6 major recessions since 1980 have on average lasted less than 10 months. Colin Fredrickson, NTD News.
Though most sectors are struggling to fill positions, several tech companies are issuing hiring slowdowns and some layoffs.
KRON 4's Justin Campbell has more on how Silicon Valley is responding to the current state of the economy.
For the most part, what I've heard is that they're cutting either marketing or sales.
Ralph Aceves, CEO of HackerStrike, has been in the Bay Area tech industry for 40 years. He says tech companies can outsource financial services and marketing that are not core to their business, but will most likely not be laying off any engineers anytime soon.
You don't want to get to a point where you need to cut engineering, because as it is, it's very difficult to get good talent. So you want to protect those employees as much as you can.
The reports of layoffs at Oracle come as major tech companies continue to announce cuts. Google announcing last month they will slow hiring for the rest of the year. Tesla laid off 200 people. Aceves says as the U.S. economy battles inflation and interest rates go up, companies are trying to become more efficient.
Even 2 years ago, we did not anticipate the economic problems that we're facing now.
KRON 4 reached out to multiple people at Oracle, but they did not respond to our request for comment. Reporting in San Jose, Justin Campbell, KRON 4 News.
And fears of recession are already playing on the minds of many companies. We're talking about Robinhood, and that after suffering a fall of 44% in revenue, the retail trading platform of US Robinhood, it will cut workforce by 23%. According to reports, layoffs will be concentrated in companies' operations, marketing and program management functions. US-based brokerage, it posted net revenue for second quarter ending June 30 of $318 million, as revenue from equity options and crypto trading more than halved. This compared with $565 million last year. Robinhood's total operating expenses for second quarter were up 22% on same period last year. Reorganization will cost the firm between $30 million to $40 million. The company has posted net loss of $295 million as well. Robinhood is one of many fintech startups that have started slashing jobs ahead of expected recession.
From the brewing to the bubbles, beer making facing a carbon dioxide crisis.
It put us in sort of like a emergency mode.
At Night Shift Brewing in Everett, they say their supplier is facing a CO2 shortage, something critical to the beer making process.
We might get something this week, but we might not.
The Mass Brewers Guild says the shortage is fueled by planned and unplanned maintenance shutdowns at several key ammonia plants. Also, a big natural source, the Jackson Dome area in Mississippi, is facing a contamination issue. Night Shift now outsourcing half of its production to other breweries with different suppliers. It means they may have...
Hey, Shalom Akim Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. New is in the gospel, broad lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. Real quick, this is titled No Work for Egypt. As you know, the economy or the economic bubble is ready to burst. Okay, you have all-time job losses. Okay, the economy is literally what they say 40% so-called unemployment rate, which they say it's around 3 to 4%, but really it's probably like around 30-40%, because you got to count the jobs that they add into these particular sectors that people aren't qualified to work these particular jobs. So therefore, you know, though they're creating new jobs allegedly, they're not hiring people because people aren't qualified for it. You see? So end of the day, man, you know, this place is getting ready to fall. And if you pay attention to the people are literally on edge. Okay, they're really losing their minds here because, hey, they put their hope and their faith in Babylon the Great. Okay, and Babylon the Great is falling. Okay, like he said, over 100-something thousand employees at Amazon or something like that. It's pretty much they're gone. You know, jobs here today, they going tomorrow. And these private sector jobs, they getting ready to go under because the private sector, like the trucking companies and the industries, they need particular independent drivers to get in certain goods. Okay, because certain corporations, they can't afford or they don't have the bidding power to get those particular contracts too. So, hey, America is finished, man. Okay, and from this point, it's on downhill. It's straight up downhill from this point. Okay, so I'm gonna play a little bit more of this video. Then I got a precept here. Because, hey, we've been saying it, and now it looks like the words we were speaking is true, okay? And we know that it'll be true because they're all through the Spirit, okay? And they're through the Scriptures. The Scriptures back this up. We're just breaking down what the precepts say in the Bible, okay? And everybody hates us for it. So anyway, I'm going to play a little bit of this, and I got about a precept or two. Wasn't anything too long, but we just going to follow the Spirit. The video speaks for itself, so here we go.
To lay off about a dozen employees.
And we told them basically, you know, we're going to run out of CO2. We need to shift a lot of our production to these other breweries. And at some point, probably in October, we're going to have some level of layoffs.
The Mass Brewers Guild says, I have heard from a dozen or so members that are on the hunt for CO2 or are being told that future deliveries are in jeopardy. We are working within our supply networks to try to make connections for our member breweries to see if they can get them some support until the supply chain steadies.
And remember, they was talking about the whole 8-week supply shortage of wheat. Okay, now that was like 4 weeks ago. Literally 3.5, 4 weeks ago, probably longer than that. So I'm thinking probably the middle of September, possibly. So we literally probably got like barely 6 weeks of wheat supply left. And they're having all these shortages on brew, like brewing beer. That's yeast, man. Okay. So with that being said, man, hey, things are going to start to increase. The cost of goods are going to go up. You know, the cost of certain commodities, certain entities are going to go up, you see, and the people, man, they're not going to know whens to get it, because now everybody, you know, they're living paycheck to paycheck, and they're not seeing an increase, because though, you know, they're selling or they have, you know, they're making more money on a job, But the price of inflation, like I was looking at this place today, and guess how much it is to get a deposit? They want a $500 deposit to secure an apartment plus a $200 administration fee. That's fucking ridiculous, man. That's utter ridiculousness. Okay, that's $700. And on top of that, depending on your credit, they may charge you first and last month rent. Those units was damn near almost $1,000 a pop. So that's damn near 3 bands. That's a secure 1-bedroom apartment in Kansas City, Missouri. Fuck no, ain't worth it. You see, so that's going to be all across the board. So renters, you know, they're going up on their rents. Mortgages, they're going up because we're in a housing bubble. People are not making the money from selling their house. You know, sometimes people are buying a house 2 or 3 times more than what it's worth, and they're paying 2 or 3 times more than what the house is actually worth. House could be worth $90,000. A person may pay $300,000 for a $90,000 house. You know, so they're taking a loss. Okay, but that's all hurting the intricacies of Babylon the Great. Okay, so hey, yeah, brothers, it's getting ready to get real. So this is the book of Isaiah 19:1. It says, "The burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, and idols of Egypt should be moved in his presence, and the heart of Egypt should melt in the midst of it." Okay, Egypt is talking about America, aka Babylon the Great. It says, "And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, kingdom against kingdom." Okay, that's going into your different class riots, your food riots, okay, your racial riots, your racial tensions, because tensions between Jacob and Esau is at an all-time high, man. Okay, Esau is really showing his horns for Jake. Okay, so you live around these Edomites, and they don't think they ain't watching you. Okay, they're watching everything you do. They're watching the time you go to work, the time you come home. You know, they plant little shit in front of your house. You know, they do little crazy shit like that. Okay, because ultimately that perpetual hatred. And you ask yourself, well, why they fucking with me only? Well, because, hey, you know, you got the spirit of light on you. That's why these demons know where to attack. Okay, to get you to get carnal so you can be thrown off your square. So you got to remain spiritual at all times to the best of your ability, unless somebody poses an outright threat. You got to remain spiritual, man. Okay, because, hey, the scriptures say put on the whole armor of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. You know, and it says here, "And the spirit of Egypt shall fell in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers and to them that have familiar spirits and the wizards." Okay, because they're going to go to literal particular prognosticators, witches, congressmen, senates, mayors, okay, news anchormen, TV anchormen, whatever you want to call them. They're going to seek out and consult answers from these particular lower level luminaries, you know, just to get an answer to see if they can get the old dog days of Babylon back. Because I'm telling you straightforward, we are entering dark, dark times, man. People that's been around you, expect them to go left, man. Especially if they have it out for this society, meaning that they seeing themselves get an upper foot or an upper advantage in this kingdom, and they see the optimist of this place. You got to really watch people that's close to you like that, because I'm telling you like this, man, those people be the one that send you up to your death. Okay, mark our words, man. Now closer than ever, your foes are going to be of your own household. And once this commence, you better believe, because you were talking about it, now you the one that blamed for it. Now we got to get you out of the picture, because, nigga, you the reason why our lives are fucked up now. Okay, but they're not, but it's written in the scriptures, you know. And since they can't flat out kill the Most High, they going to come out the people that's closest to him, his prophets, man. See what they did to his son, Yahushua. They're going to try to do the same thing to the men of the Lord. So we got to be prepared. We got to pray. Okay, we got to fast. We got to do things that get our spirits and our minds prepared to go through this, man. Okay, because, hey, the power is getting ready to come back. And look, man, we getting ready to be put on a level. And these demons are trying to stop that and discourage us. So we can't let that happen, all right? So anyway, and it says here, "And the Egyptians I will give over into the hand of a cruel Lord." Look, hey, Babylon, look who's ruling Babylon right now. You got Momos. Okay, you got this guy, creepy Jim Crow Joe, that's pretty much plunged your economy into straight utter chaos. You know, sanctions on Russia is backfiring. You know, the people that you was been shitting on for some years, now you got to try to play diplomatic immunity and try to play the good guy now, but they laughing at your ass, man, because all the sanctions you put on Russia, it backfired on you, because now the Americans are suffering from it, the biggest consumers, which was common sense. All right. And it says, "And a fierce king shall rule over them, says the Lord of hosts. And the waters shall fail from sea to sea, and the rivers should be wasted and dried up." Right. Because, hey, your cisterns, you know, like I was at work yesterday, and we was at a particular job site that deals with the pumps. Like when you go down to the landfill stations and the sanitation systems, when they running the particular wastewater through these particular irrigation systems, or whatever you want to call it, through these sanitation systems, these waste sites. Just imagine once the power gets cut here and once everything shuts down, all that waste that you people are flushing out to those pumps and those landfill stations, that's going to back up in your homes. Okay? So just imagine how a waste station smells. It smells like death. So you're going to have that on the streets of Babylon. You're going to have sewers back up. You're going to have shit backing up at people's homes. It's going to be like straight death out here, man. You know? And it says here, and they should turn to the rivers far away, and the brook of the fence should be empty and dried up, and the reed and the flag should wither. Right, man? Because, hey, the rivers going into, your particular living waters in this place, man. Like, okay, you got your witchcraft, you got your sorceries, you have the men of the Lord as well, okay? But the whole point about it is, hey, they gonna try to go and seek the nobles, and it ain't gonna be none there for them. That's why it says in their reeds and their flags shall wither. And the paper reeds by the brooks, and by the mouth of the brooks, and everything sown by the brooks shall wither, and be driven away, and be no more. And the fishes shall also mourn, and they that want to cast the angle into the brook shall lament, and they that spread their net upon the water shall languish, right? Because it's not going to be any abundance out here. It's not going to be anything that you can do to feed yourselves unless you bow down to the system and take this man's M-A-R-K, you know? And it says here, and they should be broken in the purposes thereof. No, and it says, moreover, they that work fine flax and that weave network shall be confounded. And they should be broken into the purpose thereof, and all that make sluices or ponds for fish. But surely the princes of Zoan are fools, and the counsel of the wise counselors of Pharaoh is become brutish. So how should we say to Pharaoh, I'm the son of the wise and the son of the ancient kings, right? Because out of all your preeminence, out of all your wisdom and knowledge and understanding that you've conjured up on the left-hand side, you're not going to have answers for your people, okay? You ain't going to have answers, all right? Because you people, man, you really believe in this devil. You believe in a so-called white man as being God. You really look up to this low-life, decrepit piece of shit as somebody that's important, man. And he's nothing more but a fucking devil. You see? And it says here, the princes of Zoan become fools, and the princes of Nope are deceived. And they have also seduced Egypt, which Egypt is America in this case, even they that stay on the tribes thereof. But the Lord have mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work. Okay, every work mean everything from your job sectors to your independent contractors to your Uber, your ride shares, to your city workers, state workers, county workers, to your real estate agents. Your mortgage workers, all these people are getting ready to be in mourning right in a minute, okay? Because now with the monkey business being a public emergency, now it's possible that they may shut things back down, okay? Because that's a highly contagious you know what. And it says here, and have caused Egypt to earn every work thereof as a drunken man staggering in his vomit. Neither should there be any work for Egypt, which the head nor tail nor branch or rush may do. But in that day shall Egypt be like unto women, and it should be afraid of the fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts, which he shaketh over it. And the land of Judah should be a terror unto Egypt, and everyone that maketh mention thereof should be afraid in himself because of the counsel of the Lord of hosts, which he had determined against it. Okay, so hey, Jake is gonna literally lose it out here on you fucking devils, man. All right, because Jake is getting sick and tired of the abuse, the mistreatment. We're all tired of it, man. So, hey, man, with that, all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. And with that, Shalom and Abba Ball. Lord's will you edify to the next lesson. Shalom.
Night Shift says it's continuing to churn out beer because it's contracting out.
Fans and consumers probably shouldn't see a huge disruption at all.
Night Shift does say that it will be paying out those affected employees to October 1st, offering severance packages as well, and helping them find new jobs in the business.
A bedrock of the Neenah community is laying off more than 100 of its workers. NBC 26's Olivia Acree looks at what the changes at Neenah Foundry mean for the surrounding community and its workforce.
All over the country, you can find pieces of Neenah, Wisconsin. All you have to do is look down. Neenah Foundry manufactures manhole covers and gratings that end up far beyond its factory walls. But at its core, the company has a long history in the city that shares its name.
The Neenah Foundry has an incredible history in the city of Neenah, 150 years of existence in the city of Neenah.
This week, the company filed a warn notice that showed it will be laying off 115 employees in September. The majority are production workers, and it will be based on seniority.
Carl Dahlin explained that the company was not performing well in the Class A truck business and ultimately decided to sell that portion of the company. Part of the deal was that production could continue at Neenah Foundry for a year, but now that year is over and layoffs are what's next.
Some of that production is leaving, and as a result, our workforce needs are declining, and we announced the departure of the people.
The company will be providing some amount of post-employment pay and various levels of continued health care to those who are laid off.
This was always really part of the plan as we were sort of refocusing our business. So it should not be a surprise, and it does not reflect poorly on the nature of the future of Neenah Foundry.
Neenah Mayor Jane Lang says she's sympathetic to those losing their jobs.
We're saddened for the employees who have been given that notice, but at the same time, we're optimistic for their opportunities going forward.
Mayor Lang hopes that those affected are able to move to a different job within the community.
In Neenah, Olivia Acree, NBC 26.
And let's begin with some data coming from US, whereas demand for workers eased in retail and construction sector. US job openings, they fell the most in just over 2 years in June. However, there is no change in general market conditions. That means Federal Reserve can continue raising interest rates there. Reports say at least 4.2 million workers voluntarily they quit their jobs in June, and layoffs were there. US job rate is important as it is considered by policymakers and economists as a measure of confidence in labor market. The high quit rate, it suggests that wage inflation is likely to persist for some time. Fed officials, they closely watch several metrics, and job postings are among some of them. Now, as a part of its war on inflation, the US Central Bank has raised interest rates, already sharply giving birth to fears of recession. Now, in a surprise move, US Central Bank last week raised key rates by additional 0.75 of percentage point by 225 basis point, 2.2%. It was making a total addition of around 2.2% since March, as we told you. The world's largest economy, US, has contracted by 1.3% in first half of the year.
Good afternoon.